Hey gang, this is Vicki Kelly with the Golden Rule Trades. I'm going to talk to you this weekend about position sizing in a volatile market, and specifically how it relates to how we manage risk with the morning method. Now, it has gotten extremely volatile out there, and so we have to do this balancing act. We have to be able to have a position size that's large enough to make progress in our account and help us to stay focused and interested without triggering those boredom trades. But it also has to be small enough to handle larger stops and increased swings that we are experiencing right now. The important thing is that we have to pre-decide how we are going to handle this. How are you going to determine your position size? Now, the traditional way is simply to say, I'm only going to risk X amount per trade, a percentage of your account size, something like that. But there are other considerations to take into account as well. And that is, what toll does it take if you get stopped out in this? Even if you can afford it, if it puts you on tilt, it's still too large of a position size. Or if, again, you end up just trading because you're bored, you may need to make sure that you are doing that balancing act to have enough skin in the game to stay focused. And then you also need to pre-decide when will you scale back or increase in size. So when will you know how to scale back and make your stops wider, or maybe use a different instrument? Or when will you increase your size when you know that you can take advantage of some swings in the market and be able to help your account gain a little bit more than you might normally? I want to show you these 2 days. They were only a couple days apart, but each of these represent a really big move. For example, this was 40 points in the market, and this was 55 points in the market. But trading these were completely different animals. In this one, even though it only went 40 points compared to the 55, these candles were 15, 18-point candles. So if you have a 5-point stop, you are absolutely getting stopped out more than once. And we, at the Morning Method, have a 3 strikes you're out policy that if you can't figure that out in enough time, that you get stopped out 3 times, it's time to stop because something has changed and you haven't adapted to it yet. Whereas this one, again, it went 55 points, so 15 points further, but the largest candle of this was maybe 6 points. And with that, it just doesn't feel the same, it doesn't trade the same, and you're not going to risk as much. If you can stay in that full-size position, you still might get stopped out. It's always possible to do that, but it's less likely that you will do it simply in the normal movement of the market. And each of these we will call volatile because this one moved 40 points, this one moved 55, and maybe we're only expecting it to move 20 or 30 points in a day. So they both will get the name volatile attached to them, but they both trade completely differently. And we will have to know, and preferably know ahead of time, how we are going to handle that and to adapt as quickly as possible in order to be able to keep our account moving forward without taking huge risks. So with the morning method, initially, our stop loss is determined by the distance between our quant energy lines. Normally, right now, our energy lines, initially when we set them up, might be 5 to 6, 7, 8 points between them. And that is a normal movement for the market. In doing so, we can usually take a full-size position. We know that if we're trading minis, we will have a 5-point stop loss. If we're trading micros, we can have up to a 10-point stop loss. But we also have to take into account the choppiness of the market. If we're in a low volume environment, if we're at a higher risk time of day, we might have to size down simply because the swings will become so wide that just the regular normal market movement will stop us out. And so if the distance between our energy lines becomes 10 or 15 or 16, 20 points, then we absolutely have to size down and not only go from minis to micros, but maybe even half size micro position. And then when we get into times like the summer, or maybe we have an announcement coming out, we also have to take into account when it gets choppy, we have to react as quickly as possible, adapt as quickly as possible, widen our stops, take a smaller position size so that we can navigate that as well. Again, this is a completely different animal to trade than this, even though maybe our energy lines were about the same, and yet they traded completely differently. So the minute that we see that we are setting up something that looks like this, we have to change our position size and allow for those changes to make. Or it's always fair to sit on your hands and wait till that's over, and you will never be sorry that you did that. So I'm going to link you to my trading plan blueprint. This will walk you through the various things that you need to think about for your trading plan. And again, this is not my trading plan. This is for you, your personal trading plan of the things that you need to think about, because you absolutely want to make as many decisions as possible before you even turn on your computer. It's something that will guide you through. Maybe it's things you've thought of, maybe things that you haven't thought of. I always try to take a little bit of a different approach to things so that you are thinking not only in terms of math, but also in terms of what this does to your emotional balance so that you're able to stay in this for the long term. So make sure you stay safe, and I will see you at the open.